Hello friends, welcome back to our video lecture series on course titled Fluid Mechanics 2. In this lecture we will start new topic, hydraulic jump, and we will discuss what is hydraulic jump and its types as well as applications. So let us consider a channel in which a dam has been built across the channel as a barrier in the flow. Now due to the construction of this dam, water will start to store up in the upstream direction of this dam. So in this direction water will start to store. Now its depth will goes on increasing, and the point will come when its depth of water upstream of the dam will become equal to the height of this crest of the dam, and after that it will start to spill over it. So when water is going to spill over the dam, at that time this flow will get accelerated. Now initially this flow was in a subcritical condition, that means that its velocity was lesser and value of Froude number was less than 1, but suddenly it will start due to increase in velocity, that Froude number will start to increase, and the time may come when this subcritical flow will be converted into the critical flow, and that critical flow will be converted into the supercritical flow. So if I reach to the section 1, at that point my depth of flow has been reduced, which is less than the critical depth, and my flow has become supercritical flow. Now this supercritical flow generally unstable in the nature, and which will further convert, which cannot travel further in the downstream, so itself it will get converted into the subcritical again. So due to the conversion of this supercritical flow into subcritical flow, there will be a sudden rise of the depth of water, which is taking place over very short length. So this is what happening from the section 1 to section 2. My flow has been converted into the subcritical from the supercritical, and this conversion or this transformation of the flow from supercritical to subcritical is known as hydraulic jump, or also said to be a standing wave. So this is what depth of water goes on increasing rapidly over the short length of the channel. In this section the depth of flow has been increased suddenly, and if you see here in this particular portion, my depth of flow has become equal to the critical depth, and again become lesser than the critical depth. Now this as we have discussed, the shooting flow is unstable in the nature, and which is not going to continue in the downstream side, so it will itself get converted into the subcritical flow or streaming or tranquil flow, and this due to the conversion, whatever the depth of flow will increase suddenly over the very short length, and this transformation is known as hydraulic jump or standing wave. There are some other example of this hydraulic jump. So here it is the sluice gate, and under the sluice gate where initially my flow was subcritical, which has been converted at this portion up to this, it was converted into the critical. This is the critical depth, and further decrease in the depth has converted my flow from critical flow to supercritical flow. As it is unstable in nature, again it has converted back into the subcritical flow, and this conversion in between this section to this section is known as hydraulic jump. So hydraulic jump is the sudden rise of water level due to the transformation of flow from supercritical to subcritical. Yeah, this is the another example what we have discussed just now. So how we can define the hydraulic jump? It is the rise of water level which takes place due to the transformation of unstable shooting flow or supercritical flow into the stable streaming flow or subcritical flow. That is mean that transformation of this supercritical flow from section 1 to subcritical flow is known as hydraulic jump, and due to that whatever the water is going to rise, that is known as hydraulic jump. So what we can say that if I am considering section 1 and section 2, and if I am measuring the depth of flow, so at the section 1 I will get my depth of flow which would be less than critical depth, and at the D2 where my depth of flow would be greater than the critical depth. So whatever this jump is going to take place, wherever this jump is going to take place, water depth of flow will going to rise suddenly over the very short length. So I could say that whatever my height of jump would be equal to this D2 minus D1. So if I deduct this depth of flow after jump from the depth of flow before jump, so I would get whatever the height of this particular jump. You might have seen that kind of jump at many places, like in even our local channels as well. Wherever any obstruction or any like say stone is coming in the flow of water, at that time water will start to spill over it and getting accelerated exactly at the bottom of the downstream of the that particular obstruction, and where that's what this hydraulic jump is takes place, where this kind of reverse flow is also going to takes place, and due to that reverse flow, or due to the frictional forces, or due to the turbulence nature of the flow, there are huge energy loss going to take place in the process of this particular hydraulic jump, and which is advisable, because if my water is going to travel with this higher amount of kinetic energy or with this huge velocity, obviously channel is going to subjected to this scurrying at the downstream, and which is really not affordable in the natural channels, or in case of like say canals as well, where the scurrying is going to hamper the life of the channel. So obviously this hydraulic jump is advisable at the downstream, or wherever the flow has been converted into the supercritical flow. So this hydraulic jump is going to dissipate that kind of energy. Now if you look at the Froude number, so at the section 1, or before the jump has been taking place, my Froude number was greater than 1, and as due to the jump formation of this jump, flow has been converted from supercritical to subcritical, my Froude number has again become less than 1. So what are the locations where hydraulic jump generally occurs? So those are the some location below the control structure, like where sluice gate, which are generally used in the channels. So this is one example here in this picture. So where the weirs or sluice gate is shown, and at the bottom of the sluice gate, when water is flowing, that will be converted into the supercritical, and that will again converted back into the subcritical, and this is what jump is going to take place. In this portion, whatever those all the turbulent forces or turbulent flow is going to take place, the flow is very unstable in this particular portion. When any obstruction is found in the channel, exactly what we have discussed in the first slide, when sharp change in the channel slope takes place, like say if I am considering this is my channel, and which suddenly become horizontal, now due to this sudden change in the slope also create a hydraulic jump at exactly that point of intersection of those two slopes, again at the toe of the spillway of the dam. So if I'm considering this is the spillway, so at the toe of the spillway of the dam, obviously hydraulic jump will be takes place. Now what are the effect of hydraulic jump? The first one, actually hydraulic jump is usually acts as an energy dissipator. It clears the surplus energy of the water. As the velocity of water is higher initially in the supercritical flow condition, so whatever that higher energy will be get dissipated in the process of hydraulic jump, and flow will convert it back into the subcritical, and if that higher energy will remain in the channel, obviously it will going to scur the channel in the downstream. So this hydraulic jump is going to act as an energy dissipator. Due to the hydraulic jump, many noticeable disturbances are created in the flowing water, like eddies, reverse flow, and obviously when my flow is getting converted from supercritical to subcritical, there will be a eddies formation, there would be a reverse flow which is going to take place, that is in reverse nature. You might have seen that kind of reverse flow whenever you any obstruction is coming in the channel flow. At that time water is flowing, spilling over it, and at that time there would be a reverse flow taking place exactly at the bottom, at the toe of that particular obstruction in the downstream side. So that's what our reverse flow is taking place generally in hydraulic jump. Usually whenever hydraulic jump is takes place, there will be a considerable amount of air which is going to trap in the water, and this air will going to help you to remove some waste in the stream that are causing the pollutions. So this is what the aeration process which is going to take place in the flowing water. So obviously it will help to purify the water, or it will help to whatever the BOD, improve the BOD of the water, biological oxygen demand. Hydraulic jump also make the work of different hydraulic structure effective, like say weirs, notches, and flumes. By dissipating downstream higher energy at the downstream, obviously it make weirs, notches, or flumes more effective. Now what are the applications of the hydraulic jump? The first one, as we have discussed its effect, as we have discussed its formation, as we have discussed its definition, obviously it can be used as energy dissipator. So our channel will be get saved. We can prevent this current at the downstream in the channel. Again, hydraulic jump going to increase the water level. Obviously after taking place of hydraulic jump, my flow has been converted back into the subcritical flow, and due to that water level has been increased in the channel, and obviously this higher water level can be used for the irrigation purposes in the natural channel or in the artificial canals as well, if the hydraulic jump is going to take place. To indicate the spatial flow condition such as existence of supercritical flow or presence of control section, so that gauging station may be located. So if there is a hydraulic jump, obviously we can use that hydraulic jump section as a control section. Obviously this control section we are going to discuss in the chapter of gradually varied flow. So we can locate those control section, or we can identify that control section from where we can carry out the measurement, and those measurement can be applied to all other sections. Hydraulic jump are going to reverse the flow of water, and this phenomena can be used to mix the chemical for the water purification. So this is the effective process for the mixing the chemicals which are generally used for the water purification. So no need any separate equipment or instrument to mix those chemical in the water. No need a separate what we can say mixer. So we can simply use this hydraulic jump to mix those chemicals in the water, so water will get purified, and those whatever the mixing of chemicals would be more effective. And the last one, it can be used to remove the air pockets from water supply and sewage line and prevent the air locking. So by forming the hydraulic jump, we can remove the air pockets which are existed in the water supply system or sewage line. So whatever the air locking which generally takes place in the those pipelines, generally we used to provide the air walls at the different location or at different sections in those lines, water supply line and sewage line. So we can simply also use hydraulic jump. So if hydraulic jump is going to take place, obviously due to the acceleration, and again coming back to the supercritical flow, it is going to remove air pockets which is available in the existing water supply. So whatever the air locking will be prevented. So those are the uses of the hydraulic jump. Now let's discuss what are the types of the hydraulic jump. Generally types of the hydraulic jump are based on the Froude's number. As we know, if the Froude number is greater than 1, obviously flow is supercritical, and if it is getting converted back into subcritical, then it is said to be a hydraulic jump. So first condition is must that your Froude number should be equal to or greater than 1. So the first type is the undular hydraulic jump, and for the undular hydraulic jump, Froude number is range in between 1 to 1.7. So this is very small jump where the jump is so irregular and not properly formed, and there are only some turbulences are existed in this particular jump. So there is no reverse flow, there is no sudden increase, much increase in the depth of flow. So as this is a very small jump, and one could say that it is negligible as well. So whatever the energy dissipation taking place in this kind of jump is only a 5%, which is very small. The next jump is weak jump. This is slightly larger than whatever the undular jump, but still it is weak because whatever the velocity which is very less and which may not create any reverse flow, which may create instability in the flow, that may create the turbulences in the flow, but the velocity is not enough high to create the reverse flow. So this is again a small jump, and that's why it is known as weak jump. So for the weak jump, Froude number is ranges in between 1.7 to 3, and energy dissipation is in between 5% to 15%. The next one is the oscillating hydraulic jump. The oscillating hydraulic jump is going to form when the oscillating jet enters into the supercritical state, and there are number of particles start oscillating in clockwise or in anti-clockwise direction, which is going to form slighter tides or waves at the top of surface of the water. So whenever any oscillating jump, like say any jet of water or water having smaller depth coming in the zone and getting converted into the supercritical flow, so at that time there will be some oscillation is going to take place at this particular location, that is a greater turbulences, and obviously there is a small reverse flow is going to take place in this jump, and those oscillations may be in clockwise or in anti-clockwise direction, and obviously those are much unstable than the weak jump. Whatever the range of Froude number is in between 2.5 to 4.5 for the oscillating hydraulic jump, and energy losses which is much greater than as compared to weak jump, that is in between 15 to 45%. Next is the steady hydraulic jump. In the steady hydraulic jump, bed surface is quite rough, so that the particles start to tend in one direction with the heavy velocity and turbulences, and as the frictional losses are more in this type of jump, obviously this is the most effective type of hydraulic jump. And obviously this is not strong enough, but still it is much effective than the previous three cases. So whatever the hydraulic Froude number for this type of jump, the range of Froude number is in between 4.5 to 9. So due to the high velocity and high turbulences, there is slightly higher reverse flow which is going to take place in this type of jump. And obviously this is the considerable change in water depth which is going to take place after the formation of the hydraulic jump. So if you see here, whatever the depth of flow before jump and depth of flow after jump, which is considerably high and which can be effectively used for the different purposes, like say steady hydraulic jump can be used at the downstream of small channel small sections like say weir or notches, so we can dissipate that huge amount of energy carried by the water. Whatever the energy loss in this type of jump is about 45 to 70%. Now the last one is the strong hydraulic jump. Whenever Froude number is greater than 9, then it is said to be a strong hydraulic jump. This is the most preferable jump in the what we can say in the dam structures, where the velocity of water is very high at the downstream of the dam, and where this jump is most preferable to dissipate that energy. So this strong hydraulic jump is the perfect jump which is going to form when the frictional losses are more and velocity is very high. So in this case, velocity, turbulences are very high, and as well as frictional losses are also high at the channel surface. And with this higher frictional losses and higher velocity, whatever the jump which is going to take place, going to change depth of flow up to the certain extent, which is much greater than as compared to previous cases. In this case, whatever the water is going to change from the supercritical to subcritical over very short length, and that's why this is a much effective than as compared to all other types of jump, because in this case whatever the change in depth of flow is going to take place over very short length, and there is huge reverse flow, that is the eddy is going to form in this type of jump. So there is a huge energy loss or energy dissipation can be takes place in this kind of jump, and which ranges in between almost 70 to 85% energy dissipation can be takes place in this type of jump. So those are the 5 types of jump. Hope you understood this. Those are the references which I've used while preparing my presentation. Thank you for watching.